Hello, dear children. I welcome you to the radio learning program produced by REB with support from UNICEF. I'm Teacher Mary. I'm going to teach you social studies for P5 learners. Get your notebooks, get pens ready for today's lesson. Okay? So we are going to remind ourselves what we learned in the last lesson. So in the last lesson, we learned about different social services and also their centers where they are provided. We looked at the banking services, the market services, and we also looked at the medical services. So now, today's lesson, we are going to learn about important places in our province. We are going to learn about important places in our province. Before we go into the details of today's lesson, let us first do this warm-up and stand up and we sing together. Let us go. Sweetly sings the donkey at the break of day. If you do not feed it, this is what it says. Ooh-oh, 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 ooh-oh. Can we sing it together now? Sweetly sings the donkey at the break of day. If you do not feed it, this is what it says. Ooh-oh, 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 ooh-oh. Wow, children, can you sit down? So I said we are going to learn about important places in our province. What are important places and what do we get from important places? Are you with me? 1. Churches. These are holy places of worship for Christians. They are holy places of worship for Christians. Mosques. Mosques are holy places of worship for Muslims. 3. Markets. These are places where they buy and sell goods. We buy and sell goods in markets. 4. Banks. These are financial institutions which keep people's money safely for future use. Banks are financial institutions. 5. Stadiums. These are playgrounds where sports activities take place. So 6. Hospitals. These are places that provide medical services. Hospitals are places that provide medical services. Schools. These are places that provide education. Schools, they are places that provide education. Number 8. Game parks. They help to protect wild animals and attract tourists. 9. Forests. They protect some species of plants and trees that help in the formation of rainfall and also controls soil erosion. Water sources. These are places where we get water for domestic and industrial use. Water sources, they are places where we get water for domestic and industrial use. Police station. These are places which provide security. Police help to keep law and order. Hotels. These are places which provide accommodation, food, and meeting venues in our province. Public toilets. These are also very important places because they help in proper disposal of human wastes. Lastly, museum. These are places where traditional things of long ago are kept. Museums, these are places where traditional things of long ago are kept. So we have looked at the important places we have in our province. Come along and play with us. So we are going to look at problems faced by the important places. What are some of the problems faced in those places? So the problems faced by important places in our province include poor hygiene and sanitation. Some of these places are not maintained. They do not keep good hygiene. Bad weather conditions like forests, water sources. If there are heavy rains or flooding, some of these places are going to be destroyed or damaged. Misuse of public funds by some of the workers. Some of the workers in these places misuse the funds which are supposed to be used for maintenance or replacing some things which are destroyed. The next point, which is number 4, corruption. Corruption also, it is the mismanagement of resources. If the leaders are not able to handle resources well, then such public places will not be able to operate effectively. Number 5, dense population. That is, some public places accommodate so many people. Let's say schools, hospitals. And if such places have so many people, it would be very difficult to have enough resources and services for all the people that go there. The last point, shortage of land. If there isn't enough land to expand such important places, then we shall not have good, better services. So those are some of the problems faced by important places. What about the solutions to these problems? There are so many ways of solving problems that are faced by important places. One way we can increase funds for maintenance. Places which do not have enough money for maintenance, the government or people can increase the funds that are needed for maintenance. Also, employment of more workers. More workers can be employed so as to have effective services in those particular places. They can also arrest corrupt officials. If there are people who are corrupt, they need to be arrested and questioned on how the funds have been used. And another point, to teach people to protect important places. There are people who may not know how to protect or maintain good hygiene in important places. So they need to be taught how to protect such important places. The last point, they also need to control population growth. The government or the people need to control population growth so as not to have so many people and less public places where people need to go. So if there are less public places and people are many, people will not be able to get all the services well. So we have looked at important places, and we have also been able to look at the problems faced there and also the solutions to overcome certain problems. So let us have a short break and we continue.
Come along and play with us.
Welcome back, children. We are looking at the important places, or we can call them public places. So now we are going to look at something related to important places, and which is about the environment and its components. And we can find this on page 72 of the P5 SST textbook. So we need to know, what is the environment? So environment means surroundings, as simple as that. Environment means surroundings, things that surround you, things that are around you. They can be both natural, they can also be man-made. It is very important to know that the environment is made up of both the living things and non-living things, such as vegetation, soil, lakes, rivers, animals, air. All these are called environmental components. All things that surround you, they are environmental components. And remember, we said environment means surroundings. So the environment is divided into two types: the natural environment and the man-made environment. So what is the natural environment, and what are those things in the natural environment? From the list I gave you, can you pick out the ones which are natural? So you need to know that this is the type of environment found in nature. It is made up of both living things and non-living things. So examples are plants, animals, lakes, mountains, swamps, and valleys. So those are all natural things that we find in the environment. And we also said we also have man-made environment. So what is man-made environment? Man-made, this is the type of environment made by people in order to meet their needs. This is a type of environment made by people in order to meet their needs. Examples are buildings, roads, dams, which are for electricity, vehicles, markets, schools, churches. All those things are made by people. So, what is the importance of natural environment? Okay, so I'm going to look at all the different items which we find in nature, which we find in the environment, and they are natural. We are going to particularly look at the lakes. We shall also look at the swamps and the forests, and we also get to know their importances, okay? So we are going to first look at the lakes. A lake is a large depression filled with water. The largest and the most important lake in Rwanda is Lake Kivu. It lies between Rwanda and Democratic Republic of Congo. So Lake Kivu is shared by two countries, Rwanda and DRC. What is the importance of lakes? So, people catch fish in lakes. Fish is a source of food. People eat fish, you know. Point 2, people get water for domestic, industrial, and irrigational use. People get water for use at home, for industries, and also for irrigating the crops. So point 3, lakes attract tourists. Lakes attract tourists, and tourists bring money to the country. Tourists bring money to the country. Point 4, lakes help in the formation of conventional rainfall. You know, conventional rainfall is always formed on the water bodies. So if we have lakes around, it will help us to make rainfall, which is helpful. So another point, which is point 5, lakes are used for water transport. Lakes are used for water transport. Another point, which is point 6, people get clay from lakes and they use clay to make pots. Point 7, some lakes are used for irrigation. Some lakes are used to generate electricity. Another point, the lakes are recreation centers. People can create beaches, they can create anything around the lakes. And in that way, people are able to go and have fun near the lakes. Last point, lakes make the surroundings pleasant because it's always nice to have that air from the lakes. It is always very good. Okay, so we've looked at the lakes and the importance of having lakes. So let us look at the swamps. Okay, so swamps are waterlogged areas with dense vegetation. Swamps are waterlogged areas with dense vegetation. Some swamps are permanent while others are seasonal. Okay, what are the importance of having swamps? So swamps control floods. Whenever water comes and it is heavy from a higher area, it will reach where there are swamps and it will get stuck there. So it will be able to control floods. The next point, we get water for domestic use from swamps. Swamps also have water, so people can go and get water from the swamps. Another point, we get clay and papyrus reeds for craft, which we can also be able to make mats, baskets, which we use at home. The fourth point, we catch fish in swamps. Fish can also breed in swamps. The last point, swamps helps in the formation of rainfall because swamps have grass in there and it helps in the formation of rainfall. It has grass and it also has water, which helps in the formation of rainfall. Let us have a short break and we continue.
Come along and play with us.
Welcome back, children. We are looking at the natural environment. Let us look at the forests. What are forests? A forest is a large area covered with trees. A forest is a large area covered with trees. So there are two types of forests. We have the natural forests and the artificial forests. The natural forests They are the type of forests where trees grow by themselves in large numbers. Artificial forests, these are the types of forests trees are planted by people. These are the types of forests where trees are planted by people. So natural, they grow by themselves. Artificial, they are planted by people. So forests are important to us in the following ways. We get fuel, firewood, or we can call it charcoal. We get it from forests. And charcoal is used for cooking. The next point, forests control soil erosion. Because forests, when they are planted in an area on a high hill, they will be able to stop the running water to sweep away the soil. So they will be able to control soil erosion in that area if the trees are planted there. Point 3, people get timber for construction and for making furniture. We can make chairs, we can make tables, we can use also timber to construct houses, and we get all that from trees which are in forests. We can also get herbs for local medicine. People can get herbs for local medicine from forests. And lastly, forests help us in the formation of relief rainfall. So the relief rainfall is always formed through evaporation that takes place on trees. Okay, so we looked at the importance of forests. But we also need to know that in Rwanda, we have different natural forests, So what are those natural forests that you know in Rwanda? So in Rwanda, we have Nyungwe Forest. Do you all know Nyungwe Forest? We have Ibirunga Forest. We have Mukura Forest.
Come along and play with us.
Let's now look at the terms related to forests. Can you define afforestation, reforestation, agroforestry, deforestation? Those are the different terms related to forests. So what is afforestation? Afforestation is the planting of trees where they did not exist. It is the planting of trees where they did not exist or they have not existed completely. So that is when you plant a tree in a place where there has not been any tree. That is afforestation. What about reforestation? Reforestation is the planting of trees where they have been cut down. Reforestation is the planting of trees where they have been cut down. If a tree is cut down, then another tree is planted there. We call that reforestation. Another term, agroforestry. Agroforestry is the planting of trees together with crops to enhance production. If there is a forest, they can also plant crops there, maybe cassava or maize or any kind of crop. So another term is deforestation. Deforestation is the cutting down of trees on a large scale. If you cut down one tree at home, it is not deforestation. But if you cut so many trees in a forest or in an area, it is called deforestation. So afforestation is the planting of trees where they did not exist. Reforestation is the planting of trees where they have been cut down. Agroforestry is the planting of trees together with crops to enhance production. So deforestation is the cutting down of trees on a large scale. So children, we have come to a conclusion of our today's lesson. So we have learned about environment, which is the surrounding, and we have natural environment and man-made environment. And we've looked at different things we can find in the environment. We looked at the lakes and the importance of lakes. We also looked at swamps and the importance of swamps and forests and also its importance. So children, thank you so much for paying attention in today's lesson. This has been your teacher, Mary. Thank you and hope you'll join me in the next lesson. Bye-bye.